Plan to finish AC2 today. Here is the plan today. There's a few more queries to go, a variety of query types, and some extra parameters in queries. Just to remind you, we went over this Friday, but remember the wildcards. They are very useful in queries. The asterisk is the most common, can represent anything, but remember, it could also represent nothing. So a S star means it has to start with S, but a star S star means S has to be somewhere, anywhere, even could be starting with S. There could be nothing where the star is. As an example, star S star could match Sally with the S at the beginning, or the wonderful name Esther with S somewhere in the middle, or Stephen, or Jose, or Thomas, if there's an S anywhere, even at the end of the name. With the question mark, though, there has to be something there. It can be anything, but there has to be something. Could be a space, could be a dash, or another letter. This would only match, of these two, Esther, but not Sally, because question means, oh, there's something before the S. Sally begins with S. So as we go to add, using more queries, that will be very helpful. And remember, as we work through the queries in the book, save it by the page number. In the book, they say save it CH02-1. I find it much more useful to save it by the page number. So when you're reviewing, you can always say, oh yeah, that's the query we did on page AC82. And you can bop right back to it and review why we did those strange things, adding little fields to the query. So here we are in the book, about on page AC82, going further forward from that. And go ahead and bring up your AC2 project. And as you create the queries, they should be showing up over here. If you ever want to run them again, you can just double click on it and you get the results. Click on the triangle and it takes you to design view. You can see how we got those results. You can always go back and look at the design page. Now something special about these design pages, you know, under the view part, you can view the design view or datasheet view. If you're curious at all about this database language that's actually running underneath, you can look at the more techie, more nerdy SQL view. And here is the actual language that database programmers have to learn. It's called SQL. And if you're interested at all in pursuing more technical courses, especially databases where you can, if you learn this, make decent career, this is the kind of things they learn. It's like a programming language. But in this class, you don't have to look at that, but feel free to explore. So back to datasheet view, there's our results. Triangle takes us to the design view. AC82, or that was AC45, where I'm done with that, so I can close it. And just to keep your life less cluttered while you're working with Access, there's enough confusing things. Close them as you're done with them. So going back to our query they want us to build, we're going to build a query let's see, we've done this one, I believe. Let's go on to the next. We're using wildcards in a query. And again, we're using customer number, customer name, amount paid, current due. So let's build that from scratch, just for practice. Select my table, customer table. Actually, you don't have to select the customer table. You can just go right to create query design, and when you bring up query design, it asks you what tables to use. Double click customer table only once. You only have one view of your customer table in there. And we want to double click on customer number, customer name, amount paid, and current due. Run it to make sure I have the columns I want. Come back to design view, and now they want us to add a wildcard to customer name, the S star, just like we did before. The customer name in the criteria row, customer name begins with S. Hitting enter, and Access comes back and adds a like S star in there. When I run it, by clicking datasheet view, I should see only customers whose name begins with S, showing my query was successful. And let's see if we're done with that one. Yep, we're done with that one. And because I started a new one, I can do a Control S. If I were modifying an existing one, I would do a file, save as, save object as. But since it's already a new one, I can just do a Control S. But if I save it, I can now give it the name. Uh-oh, what page was that? That was page AC84. AC84. And, okay. Now AC84 shows up in my list of queries. Remember though, if you decide to change the query because it's the same one with multiple columns, be sure to do a save as, or you'll accidentally wipe out your previous query if you just do a normal Control S. So we have several that deal with those same 4 columns, so we, rather than starting from scratch every time, we can just modify the different ones. Now if I want to look at information like the city they're in, or have that be part of the criteria, but actually not show up, let's go ahead and first we'll just add the city like we would do with any field. We want to look for a specific city, so I come back here and double-click city to add it to my displayed fields. I can always go to Data Shape View and see, oh, I have to I'm going to turn off the like S part. I'm going to delete the like S query now, or criteria. Now I see I have everyone. There's their city. Uh-oh, we've got a problem. My cities have all been shortened to 2 characters. I messed up somewhere. I think I accidentally made my cities to have only 2 characters. Uh-oh, got a problem.
I'm still confused on the save as for that query. Every time when I go to save as, it opens up another window.
Well, okay, let's go through this here. Say I'm in a query, and I want to save it with a different name. I go File, Save As, and see the 2 choices you have here. Save the database or save the object. Saving the object is giving that table or that query a different name in the database. So click Save Object As if you want to just save the query. Then you can do a Save As, and there it gives you a choice to give that query a new name. And that's again, that's part of Access, doing it a confusing way, because there's the file, the database file, which is everything, or the little query I'm in, or report, or form, that's called an object. Now, if I run back here, I'm going to go ahead and close that query, because I realize I've got a problem with my city. I'm going to go back to my table. I'm not going to save change. Well, I'll save changes to that query for now, but I want to give it a different name. So I'm going to do a save object as. I'll just close it and come back to it. I've just noticed in my customer table, if I look at my cities, look at this, my cities all got messed up. For some reason, I accidentally set my field size of my city to 2. So I'm going to have to go fix that. And the field size of the city, wasn't it supposed to be 20? I must have typed 2 instead of 20 last time. And see what happens? It throws away the extra names. But I can quickly fix that. So I'm going to fix my field size, and then I got to go back and find the correct data. So I'm going to bring my book over on the screen here and find that correct data, because it was at the start of chapter 1. It's a little ways back here. Or you know what I'll do? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a different version of that same file, and I'm going to copy paste from it. So I'm going to go, or you know what? I remember I have that Excel file. I'm going to go to my Excel file. Find it first. Where's my file browser? Excuse me while I go find my Excel file and put in the correct data. I messed that up. The customer data. Access wasn't happy. I'm gonna try this again. Open with.
That's what we did first. Do not have to set that.
All right, I've got my customer data. Here's something you could do if you messed up your data in a table. I'm just going to go here to Excel. I'm going to copy all my city names, Control C, and I believe I can do a paste right here. Let's see if it lets me. Not sure if I even have to select those. I think I can just paste right here. Oh, it only does one city at a time. All right. Copy, paste, and Gosset, copy. I thought it would let me paste a whole column of data.
If you select the whole field, will it let you click on the city field?
Oh, let's try that. Copy from Excel. Let's try that. Whole column. Hey, thank you. Yes, I thought I could do that, but I had to have the column selected, not that first cell. There I have my cities fixed. So if you accidentally mess up your data, without having to redo your entire table, you can come paste the data. That may be handy someday. Okay, now back to that query. Closing my table. Since I didn't change the table, I only added data. It doesn't ask me to save. Now back to that query they were asking us to build here from the book. Closing my table of contents. Again, I want a criteria on the city that's not shown in the results. So back to create, query design, customer table, close, number, name, amount paid, current due, and the city name. And I always run them without adding the criteria. Okay, the city names are looking right, but now I only want to look for the Gaston city. All right, so I go back to design view, and in my criteria for city, I add Gaston. And now if I run the datasheet view, I see, oh, there's my customers that are in that city. Now, for some reason, you may not want to see the city in the results, and that's why this check mark is here on the show row. That means, although that element or that field is included in the results or in the criteria, maybe I don't care to see the city listed multiple times. So although the criteria for city is there, I'm not showing it. And that's the effect of this little check mark. It is determining what data I see, but it's not needed to show on the results. I normally ignore the show because I like to see everything with all that information. But for this one, we're just using that. So we're going to save this as, make sure I get the right page. I'm on page AC85. And I think they complete it. They complete it on AC86. So I'm going to save it as AC86. So since this is a new one, I can do a Control S and call it AC86. And I'm going to use this one rather than starting from scratch every time. I'm going to do a save object as for the next one. And this time we want what they call a parameter query. And a parameter query is simply putting square brackets around the criteria with a little message saying what you want to ask them. So a left square bracket and the words enter city. Right square bracket. And let me put that up on top to make that a little easier for you to read. Where did my notepad go? That's not it. Where's my notepad? Oh, there it is. So you put this in the criteria right there. And now when you run the query, it asks me what city to look for, but I have to spell it exactly right. I can't say GA star. I have to spell the city, and then it will show me results with that city. To run it again, I can go back to design view and say run or view, and it asks me again. Anytime I have a square bracket, let's put, oh, what do we know of other cities that we know are in there? I know there's a Greer, G-R-E-E-R. And then it shows me all the customers in that city. Another reason I like to show it, I like to remember what city was I looking for. So I'm going to go back to design view and turn back the show so I can tell what city I had performed the search with. So square brackets causes this thing called a parameter query to pop up, and I'll look for Gossett. And there's the one customer in Gossett. So just showing you the different ways you can use queries. And I'm going to save this one with a file save object as, because I'm on a different query here on what page?
Ends on page
88. So save object as AC88. Save as, save object as, save as AC88. Multiple buttons just to get to the save as, but that's the way Access works. All right, so then back to my book. And what do they want us to do now? They added the using that we actually show how you use the parameter query. We've already done that. We can use numbers, and the thing to remember with numbers is they only work on fields that are of type number. When you're doing comparisons, we're looking for someone who has 0 current due. So I'm going to go back to design view of this query. Let's see, I don't think we care to see city anymore, so I'm going to delete city from the design view. For the next one, I don't care to see that, so I click on the gray bar right above the city, and I can right-click cut. Just clicking in the little narrow gray bar selects that, I can cut that. Now in current due, I put 0 for people that don't owe me any money. Running datasheet view shows me the one customer that does not owe money, has 0 current due. And notice it does not put quotes around it like it would if I put 0 here. So if I put a 0 here, it puts quotes around it because it's comparing the word with a 0 or the character 0. Here it's comparing the number. And then when you see the results, we have that. And that's AC89, a very simple one. And again, save object as, and I'm calling that AC89. The only thing different is just playing with the criteria of 0 on current due. Is that making sense? I'm hoping we're not confusing you. This whole design environment is not terribly user-friendly. Click the one place, you do something a little bit wrong. There's not a lot of undos. You have to start a query over if you really mess up. So just ease into that, and don't be embarrassed if it's do something that Access doesn't like. That's why a lot of people run away from Access. You will at least have some knowledge of it and show that, hey, you're familiar with it, you know what can be done, and again, fundamentally, you know generally how databases work, because that is your world of the internet. It's the world hiding underneath every web page, about every web page you go to. Okay, so the next query, we're comparing again with numbers. There's multiple ways to compare, and here's the comparison operators. Greater than is the right pointing V, a less than, greater than and or equal, if you want to compare to the equal value, or less than or equal. It's just the less than and equal sign right next together. You can always use a not for being not equal to. That may come in handy. People that do not owe 0 could be, or something where you can't just do a simple less than or greater than. So the comparison operator they want to do is someone who has, the start date. So we're using a new query on our book reps. So we're done with our customer queries. We're going to look for book reps that started after January 1st, 2013. So since I'm done with the customer query for now, I'm going to close it. And I'm starting a new query, create, query design. This time it's about book reps, so I double click book rep once. And now I want to see the book reps number, name, last name, first name, start date. So number, double click, last name, double click, first name, double click, and start date. Before adding criteria, I run just to see what data I get, and I see there's only 4 book reps. And if I look for ones that started after January 1st, 2013, I should find everyone except Melina, because everyone else has started after. So now I go edit my query and see if I definitely get those results. So start date, greater than, and I do the standard date notation 1/1/13, hitting enter. Access adds what it prefers as the format for that. So it puts pound signs around it, and it keeps your greater than. Now let's see if I get everyone except the one, yes. So I have the correct query. I can see that I get the correct results. So whenever you've been asked to do a query, don't panic if you're not getting anything in results. It may be there isn't that data in the table. You may have a correct query, but there's no data matching it. So there's someone who start date comes after, because time, the date increases as you go into the future, so the greater than means something that came after a certain date. And that is done on page, what page was that? My book, AC90? Yeah. Okay, so since it's the first one, I'm going to Control S and AC90. And continue on with exciting queries. Compound criteria. All that means is multiple things need to be true. And we're going back to a customer query on the customer table. So I'm going to go back to Access, close the book rep table query, start a new one, create, query design, customer, close, and we want customer number, name, amount paid, current due, and returns and book rep number. Number, name, amount paid, current due, returns, and book rep number. Run it without any criteria first, see what my results will be. And now back to my parameter query that they're asking about. They want a query on the returns is greater than 0 and book rep number is 42. Returns greater than 0, book rep number 42. And in design view, I put a greater than 0 in the returns column criteria. And on the same row, I put a book rep 42. If it were on a different row, it becomes an OR criteria. Either could be true. So when I want to logically combine multiple criteria, keep them in the same row. And running it, I should see not 0 for returns, and they're all just book rep number 42. So what they call this compound criteria. That just means multiple fields have criteria on them, and using AND keeps them on the same row. And I'm going to save this as AC91. Control S, because it's the first time, AC91. If you want to add comments to it, like compound criteria, you are welcome to. You don't have to, because I can always go back to AC91 and see what I was doing. All right, to continue then, using the OR, they're looking for moving book rep 42 or returns greater than 0. So I come back here to design view, take 42 out of the same row and put it on the second row, and view the datasheet view. And now that will be either their returns are greater than 0 or it's book rep number 42. And now I get a lot more results. Here I do have a return 0, but because it's book rep 42, it matched the criteria. So I just about get the whole table. And I'm going to save object as this time, and this is AC92. So file, save as, save object as, save as. AC92 compound with OR. Design view, see how I did it, different rows. Now we're going to delete the grid and start a new one. I don't like doing that. I just like to start. If I'm going to start from scratch, I would just say, just start a new query, just to be less confusing, because you have the chance of wiping out your previous query. So since we're still using the customer table, you could just delete them all. I'm just going to start over because I think that's safer. Query design, customer table, close. Then I'm guaranteed I'm not messing with my other query by accidentally hitting Control S. And now the criteria or the data we're looking for are, is it just the city? Yeah, it looks like we're just wanting to look at the city. Someone says, hey, what cities are our customers from? So we open up the table, double click city, and if I run it using the datasheet view, I see, oh, we have customers in 15 cities. Sorry, no, it's not. That's not true. There are cities listed twice. So we only want to see unique cities. And so they introduced this idea of properties of a query. You can adjust your properties to make your results unique. We want to show unique fields. So let's go back and see how that's done. I go back to go back to design view, and underneath properties, to open what they call the property sheet of my query, the property sheet, and somewhere here, oh, I guess I have to click down here into the design part. I'm looking for unique records. There it shows up once I have my cursor down here. Doesn't show up right if I have just the table selected. Select up here or down here. Now turn on unique values right here by changing the no to a yes. Unique values changes from no to yes. And now when I run it, there is the unique cities. Now I know I have customers in 8 unique cities. So this is a properties, a little special deal there, adjusting the properties of my query. And I'm going to save that one. AC, yeah, I think AC 95. Well, we'll save it AC 96 since it ends on page AC 96. Either way, I'm not going to be fussy as long as you have lots of queries showing you've done this work. So since this is a new one I started, Control S, AC 96. What was it? Oh, unique fields. Or sorry, unique records. Sometimes that's useful, especially if you want to count how many customers from a particular area code or a particular zip code. You could just get that particular, how many zip codes you have. And now we can also sort on multiple keys. So I'm going to my customer, again, a new query on the customers. Customer table. And we're looking at number, name, book rep, amount paid. So slightly different information. Number, name, book rep, and amount paid in that order. And if I run this, I'll see that the book rep numbers are kind of listed randomly here.
Actually,
Question?
I wasn't able to find, but for the last one on property sheet, it's only showing, for my general, it's only showing.
Yeah, click in the gray or down in design sheet view, then they show up. Again, that's something, if you have the table selected, it doesn't show you all that. And that's another goofy thing about Access. Depending on where you click, different properties show up. So back to this one. Without any sorting, they come in the order that they're in the table. But back in design view, I can adjust this sort field here, and we're going to sort, got to get this right, by book rep number ascending and by amount paid ascending. And I'm going to close the property sheet. I don't need that anymore. The important thing to remember here is it sorts left to right. It first sorts by book rep number. They call that in the book the major field. Then they sort by amount paid. So the results I see will be sorted by number, lowest number first. And for that particular book rep, it will sort by amount paid, lowest number first. Question over here? You good? Yeah, both of them ascending. Okay, and make sure we didn't miss anything here. Customer number, name, book rep number, amount paid, both sorting ascending. And remember the following order, it sorts by this field first. And they'll word that differently sometimes. Sometimes they'll say, sort by last name or sort by amount paid within the book rep number. Well, that's a weird way of saying it. Sort by book rep number first, then amount paid. When I have questions like on the midterm, or sorry, the final, oh, that reminds me. I forgot to give you the quiz last Friday. We'll stop here and give you the quiz. And then, since we're almost done with this, we'll finish this up Wednesday, just to make sure you've got everything. You're welcome to complete that, but I want to be sure. I had a quiz on the schedule, and I forgot to do it Friday. And you were all prepared, worked hard, studying. And I'm going to save this one as AC 97. I'm going to call it sorted results. AC 97 sorted results. All right.
Is it over Access?
Just a little bit of Access.
Oh, it's
if I remember.
itself?
Yeah. Okay, let's go find that. Somewhere in my browser windows, 1,000 browser windows. Yeah, it's mostly Excel. Quiz 3, right?
Quiz 3 or quiz 4?
Oh, wait. We did, yeah, that's right. We did quiz 3. Where am I doing? I'm looking at the wrong quiz. There it is. Is it asking for a password?
You attempt to quiz now as well.
Yes.
No. Yeah. It's stupid. I'm kidding. Hang up. Good.
Oh, the goofy system here doesn't show me. They've moved where I set the password, and I keep losing it. Let's see. I think it's, let's try this. Oh. All right, I have to figure out where they hide the password. One thing about putting passwords on things, you have to remember where you set the password. Sunshine. I don't know why Sunshine was the password. Sunshine is the password.
Capitalized or all little?
Oh, lowercase. Sorry about that. Taking so long to find that. Sunshine. Now teach me to use passwords.
we have a document up there like we usually.
We have Excel and
Yeah. Yeah. I'm giving you some answers since there's some in there that we haven't covered yet.